And welcome back, everyone. Here we are on Total War Rome 2 with a 3 versus 3 siege battle. And this one is awesome because we're starting off with Rome, obviously. Rome is honestly what's really cool about seeing Rome is you don't see it very often. And so when you do see it on the battlefield, it's a nice little surprise. So this battle was sent in by a long-term Dragon Corps member named King Cerdin, and he is actually playing this faction right here in front of you. That kind of looks, if you don't look closely, it kind of looks like the Carthaginian flag. If you kind of out like this, you know what I mean. If you were just look, it kind of looks like Carthage, but this is actually a faction called the Veneti. What it is a DLC faction that's actually not part of Grand Campaign, but some people don't play by, like, some people don't have, like, a rule against bringing in non-Grand Campaign factions. Some people just don't care, you know, so I will say that is something, just a nice little tip when you go into a lobby. You know, make sure that you're either aware of that rule or just be careful, right? Because the reason that most places have a rule against non-Grand Campaign factions because a lot of times they are not balanced with each other. So when you glitch in a faction from a different DLC that's not part of the Grand Campaign DLC, sometimes it just doesn't work very well because you could have a completely overpowered faction or an underpowered faction. Veneti, I can't remember if this is Rise of the Republic, maybe? I can't remember which DLC this comes from, but I don't remember them being like terribly overpowered or anything, so there shouldn't be any issue there. Sometimes it is cool seeing some of these factions from different DLCs that you never see in battles because very few people play the other DLC, you know, factions. Because usually if you're going to play one, everybody has to play it, right? And not everybody has those DLCs or wants to play those factions, so Grand Campaign has by far the most factions. I think it's 35 if you include the tribal or the nomadic factions like Royal Scythia and Massagete, stuff like that. But anyways, like I said, so that was Cerdin. So for the other players, for the other defenders, we have got Boei being commanded by JJ Roberts, and then finally Seleucid being commanded by Fat Guy. Now, for the attackers, as you can see over here, we got Epirus, some mercenary Etruscan hoplites, Samnite warriors. So, Epirus is being commanded by Good Luck. And by the way, we're on the settlement of Casurgis. Now, Rome is being commanded by Michael Scott. That's what she said. If you don't get that reference, get out. Then finally, we have Arverni being commanded by Rudy. So Arverni here, leading off with some Chosen Spearmen. Interesting choice there. I don't always mind the idea of bringing in some spears, but usually they're mostly just used as like a cav counter. Unfortunately, some Chosen Swords getting double teamed here by Thorax. That's a bit painful. But he needs to be careful because I wonder, is this the same? Where is this guy's flag? There he is. So Chosen Spearmen have gotten up onto the wall around the gate, and they are neutralizing the gate, and you need to be careful because you got some Assyrian archers here that are unguarded. There's nothing around them to stop anything. Seleucid all over the place. We got Seleucid over here, then you have Seleucid all the way over here. You know, Boei should be able to take Epirus, you know, in a stand-up fight here. Especially just mano a mano straight up, you know, not allowing the Epirus archers to get, like, really good angles and stuff. Boei should win this fight. The Sword Followers are just a far better unit than most of what Epirus can bring. Royal Peltis going in, and then some archers. I don't think he realizes that the archers moving forward. He probably put them on command to shoot something that either is out of his range or maybe out of his angle. More Royal Peltis coming in, Sword Followers holding them back. Royal Peltis are very squishy. If you have a chance to shoot them, shoot them. They really don't like arrows. Other than that, Royal Peltis is a very good high tier unit. What are they? It's their melee attack is, yeah, look at that, 62 melee attack is just ridiculous. But I just don't know that there's enough here, you know what I mean? The other trick here, you can see he's using formation attack. Notice how his lines are staying really nice and clean. Formation attack is something I usually suggest to turn off. It's just a little too wonky. It causes your troops to kind of do weird things. I'm not a huge fan of it. Now, this is, like I said, the settlement of Casurgis, not to be mistaken for the settlement of Medellon. Medellon has a glitched area here where you can't actually go through this area. There's like an invisible wall cutting off this street. So if you deploy stuff in here, they can't leave, and anything get deployed outside of this area can't go through there. So when you click to go this way, your unit wants to go all the way around that way. Not very fun. Now this is going to be interesting. The Veneti, like I said, I can't remember. I don't think they're like a super crazy strong faction. And they are going up against Rome, which is a damn good faction. You know, especially, I'm pretty sure this is Ultra Funds, because there's a lot of Armored Legionaries. On the other side, there were a lot of Royal Peltis. Seleucid over here just falling to pieces. There's really nothing over here. Veneti's probably going to have to start cycling some units over. I really don't understand why. It looks like Seleucid is finally starting to send things over to the other side. But Seleucid really, I don't think really needed to be over here. I think Boii should be able to take this. Boii doesn't seem to be having a whole lot of fun right now, but I think because he's not taking the best fights. Right down the middle, we got some Samnite warriors that are about to meet something called an Oathsworn, which is not fun for them. Oathsworn are probably, especially bang for your buck, they're probably the best elite in the game. They're 1,280 gold, or no, 1320 maybe? 1320, I think is what they are. Sorry, the Royal Pelt is 1280. And they're just a really good unit. So you can see, like, Arverni's got a ton of them. The Oathsworn, like I said, bang for your buck is probably the best elite tier. I think there are elite tiers that are, if you were just to talk about the overall combat effectiveness, there are better. I personally am a really big fan of the Galatian Royal Guard, but the Galatian Royal Guard is more expensive. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to start weighing not just, you know, your combat effectiveness, but also the expense of what you brought. Praetorian cavalry here, just charging into the back of your own men there. Probably, in all reality, not going to do a whole lot. You know, if you charge into the back of your own men, then it's going to absorb the shock of your charge, which means that the enemy is not getting hit by the charge bonus. So if you're going to charge a cavalry in, try to move your men out of the way or disengage them, whatever it is, because that is a good place to hit with the cavalry at that point, because the only thing that was there was this Javi unit, which is Veneti Hunter. That was it. So the cavalry could just, boom, blast right through it. The Veneti Outrider General, which is kind of cool. It's a light missile cavalry gen. I kind of like that. I like, that's a cool thing. There's not, in Grand Campaign factions, I can't think of a single faction that has a missile well, some of the nomadic tribes might. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But other than that, I can't think of a single faction that has a missile cavalry general. So just kind of a cool little thing, especially if it's a good one. You know, wouldn't it be cool if, like, Carthage could bring, or not Carthage, but Miss Aisley could bring a mercenary, or not a mercenary, but a noble Oh my gosh, my brain just blanked. But the noble missile cav that they get, it's just so good. It'll come to me like halfway through this video. It'll pop into my head what I'm trying to think of. Now, while I personally think that Boei should not be having any issues here, looks like Epirus has been able to push his way through this defense. He has a Scorpion back here, Epirus does, but I don't know why he didn't just bring it into the settlement. You know, they're not really doing anything. You have 14 kills because there's nothing to shoot. Like, your you know, vantage point is very, very limited. Uh-oh, Epirus is in a lot of trouble. He's got all of his archers here completely and totally exposed. I think Epirus is going to die. He really doesn't have much infantry left. You can see some Royal Peltis getting hit by the Noble Horse General. Noble Horse Gen, 22 kills. Royal Peltis, 158, not bad. 2 chevrons as well. He has a healthy Mercenary Samnite Warrior, which is good. But most of the rest of the army is pretty much kaput. So I think Boei has pretty much won this side. There's some little things, you know what I mean? There's some little pieces here and there, but Epirus is pretty much out of this. The cavalry about to clean up all the archers. I would do exactly what you were doing, Boei. Send your infantry over because they're definitely going to need it over here. You can see some longsword warriors taking on the armored legionaries, excuse me. These Venetti just kind of look kind of cool. The conical helmets there. Armored Desert Legionaries have taken a beating. 35 men left. Over here, we've got more longsword warriors taking on, looks like Armored Legionaries and a Chosen Spearman. So the longsword warriors are going to lose this in the end. The Armored Desert, I keep trying to say that because mistakenly. Armored Legionaries are very good. Here we go. The Indian Armored Elephants are into combat. 108 kills. They are out of control. Venetti, get out of there! Salukin, what are you doing? Oh no! Just walking through their own men. Noble Venetti swordsmen getting caught now by the Oathsworn while they're trying to sneak through. I'm not sure as to if that's really that great of an idea. He does kill his own elephants there, it looks like. But to be honest with you, I'm not sure that it was really worth it. They, you know, everything that they were killing was pretty much done with, you know. Yeah, Arverni's got a pretty solid push going. Gallic Hunters did a pretty good job of getting those elephants to go berserk. The elephants really didn't get that many kills. Honestly, if only there was a count for allied kills. I really wish there was, because then it would give you an idea how many of your own men you're killing. I bet you that elephant probably got as many allied kills as it did enemy kills. Enemy kills, it was only at like 150. Which, think about it, elephant's like 1,600 gold or some crap like that. It might even be more, I might be lowballing that. But that's not, 150 kills is not enough, you know. I mean, 150 kills, maybe if it's like on an Oathsworn, you might be able to call that worth it. But even then, 150 kills on an Oathsworn is only, what, 1,200 gold worth, you know? Because, like, I don't know. Once again, I just don't know that that's a worth it number. Boei still has not sent his reinforcements. He doesn't have much in the way of reinforcements, but he does have a couple, you know, Oathsworn. The Oathsworn are kind of finishing up the Samnite Warriors. Samnite Warriors, 116 kills with 3 chevrons. I'm pretty sure they came into this battle already chevroned up. Noble Horse now 149 kills with 2 chevrons. But yeah, I'm pretty sure these Sam Knights were already chevroned up. Bounce power is actually pretty heavy in the enemy's favor, so in the attacker's favor, I guess I should say. The enemy is all dependent on whose side you're rooting for here. A lot of people are probably going to say Rome, just for the fact of Rome, but look at the cavalry coming in. Venetti, get your hunters out. Get your men out of there! And Seleucid, you got to plug the gap, man. What are we doing? Oh, man. Some good jabbies, but he's just now going in, but the cavalry has slipped through. The Venetti hunters are desperately trying to get to the Seleucid lines, but the Seleucid lines standing their ground. What a shame. Left your allies out to dry. Honestly, it's usually that kind of thing really... Excuse me, sorry. Usually that thing kind of comes down to just the player is looking in a different direction and just doesn't see it. You know what I mean? Especially if you're in a game that you're not, like, in a voice chat with your allies and such, that can be really hard to communicate. You know, if you're in a voice chat with your allies, you can be like, oh my god, hey, help, 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 save me! But if you're not, then it takes a long time to, like, try and type or whatever to try and communicate. A lot of times you're just pinging, you're like ping, 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 ping. But even then, you know, it takes a minute to respond, and it's cavalry. It's fast, you know. Hellenic Cataphracts look like they're being a nuisance, but the Praetorian Cav going to chase them off. Hellenic Cataphracts are super heavy shock cavalry, while Praetorian Cavalry is very heavy melee cav. So in a prolonged fight, the Praetorian Cav's probably going to get the better of this. The Hellenic Cataphracts are very tired. They have lost men. You know, it's just kind of as a whole, just a bit off. I did just realize as well, I didn't look at the numbers, but they are playing on large unit size. Notice how the infantry is only 120. The cavalry is only 60. I didn't even realize it until just now. But this defense, I hate to say, is falling apart. Bounce power is actually pretty even. You know, Boii pretty well handled Epirus, but Epirus did a number on Boii. There's a lot of green over here if you look over it. You know what I mean? There was a lot of green. His sword followers are all completely toast, and his Oathsworn are pretty banged up. Archer is now getting engaged, and not in a good way. Hellenic Cataphracts still getting chased down, but they're exhausted. Like, this Praetorian Cavalry, you know, is active, and they can just kind of keep on chasing. They're winded now, but the exhausted, super heavy shock cavalry is going to be slower. You notice the Legatus is just chasing them down. He needs to be careful, though, because that Legatus is, you know, not really that strong of a unit, given that it's only 30 men, right? So you need to be careful getting into a fight with something like a Hellenic Cataphract. You'd see Arverni seems to be wanting to stretch the defense. Looks like they're pushing up the stairway to come, or I guess maybe they're just going to stop here. It looked like they were intent on going up here and maybe coming down the other way, but it does not look like that anymore. Got the Venetti Hunters back set up. They are shooting straight at the Oathsworn now. Oathsworn are very dangerous. Getting the chance to shoot them, do it, but try to pick a good angle to do it. The angle he's at actually isn't a terrible angle because that Oathsworn is slightly turned, so he's actually hitting, I believe, well, I don't know, he didn't get very many kills, so maybe he wasn't catching the sword side. Like, he's shooting the sword side, but he's still relatively straightforward. Now, this angle might be better for him. This is kind of trying to juke you. And also, this rock is probably not helping anything. Silver Shield Swordsman, 33 kills. But they're just a hair above half health. Look at the big Roman push. There's nothing here. Bowie Eye better set up quick. Look at the Oathsworn, 244 kills. 169. Both of them have 20 or 2 chevrons. Syrian archers, some of them are untouched. Haven't even fired a shot. The Veneti hunters shooting at the Oathsworn, but they need to be careful. They do have some counter fire from the Gallic hunters. This has been a mosh pit kind of battle, man. A lot of times you could see the kind of generic strategy of a team as they attack or a team as they defend, but usually it's a lot easier when you know it's like a, you know, an actual team of players, you know, people who play together quite often, or even if it's not quite often, maybe they're in a voice chat talking to each other. But when it is a bunch of random people playing together, the cohesion is honestly just not there, right? Because there's just not very good communication capability when you're not in a voice chat with each other. So it can make where the attacks or the defenses can just turn into kind of a hodgepodge mess because, you know, nobody really knows what the other person is doing. But this defense is crumbling. Their entire backside is open. You know, if the attackers decided they want to take their cav and come back here, there's nothing to stop them. They could probably throw in their noble horse and it might slow them down for a very, very brief moment. But other than that, there's nothing to stop that cav coming back around here and hitting everything in the back. You know what I mean? So they're kind of lucky that Rome is not doing anything with his cavalry. He's probably microing this stuff, and that's why his cavalry is sitting. It's hard to micro something as fast as a cavalry unit while you're obviously doing other stuff. Cav is something you really don't... You want to try to use as little split mindedness with cavalry as you possibly can. Silver Shield Swordman down to 40 men. Now this is a little cheesy by Rome. That is 100% to pull through. You know, they do have a line still established, and you could tell just as the way the cavalry was going through that Rome was just clicking his way through that line. That is a big no-no, guys. When your cavalry charges a unit and it impacts the unit and causes a huge knockdown, and your cavalry kind of pushes through, you know, a lot of times that'll happen. Your cav will just naturally go through a unit that it charged. That's fine. But you could see this unit, his cavalry, he charged into the back of his own men, which halted his charge. Then you could see him pushing his cavalry through, because you could see like how the cavalry, every time you get in combat, that unit stops moving, right? And so when your unit stops moving and then it tries to push forward more and then it stops moving and then it tries to push forward more, that means that you're spam clicking. You know, I don't know if you can hear this. You know, that means you're spam clicking on the other side of the line to get your cavalry to go through it. Bad juju. No, 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 no. And in an in-house game, that would get you in a lot of trouble. You know, pull-throughs happen. Naturally, it does happen. Sometimes your unit is clicked onto another unit, and the unit, let's say you're engaged with this unit, this Oathsworn right here with the 3 chevrons, but then they take this Oathsworn out of combat. Well, if you don't have, oh my God, my brain just went blank. The stand your ground thing, that's not what it's called, but I can't think of it, but there's like a stand your ground button. If you don't have that selected, your unit's going to chase that unit that you had command on. And if that unit has snuck back behind the line, your unit's going to pull through to try to get to it. Shit happens. We all know that. But clicking through is just a big no-no, bad juju. Once again, in an in-house game, that would get you in a lot of hot water. Noble War is just getting wasted by auxiliary Syrian archers. Once again, they haven't taken their cab to try and sneak around the sides. I'm not really sure as to why. The Venetti Outriders look like they're throwing into the back of these Oathsworn. The only thing holding this upper area is this one cavalry unit. They are shooting it with their Gallic Hunters, it looks like. Syrians still have ammo. I'm not sure what they're shooting at, though. Did he chevron up his archers a bunch or something? Because he has 98 kills, but 3 chevrons, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Oh, Praetorians! That's just the slightly cheaper version. Then you have the Praetorian Guard, which is the slightly more expensive, a little better armor, if I remember correctly. Praetorian, still a good unit, though. I hate to say, though, but just looking at things, this battle looks to be over. I just don't think... The defenders really just don't have enough to cover all their bases, right? They have just enough to basically barely hold this. Just enough to barely hold this. Just enough to hold this. This is open. This is open, other than the Venetti Outriders, which I think he's just going to charge right now. Not a great charge either. It's a light missile cap, guys. You shouldn't be expecting huge, crazy results out of that charge. They're doing damage. Don't get me wrong. They are doing damage. See this? How the light green and the dark green are mixed together? That is one of those moments where the two units just like kind of melded together because one of them probably had a command on a different unit. It happens. It happens, and sometimes people I think get a little overly pissed off about that kind of thing. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but the cavalry thing, yeah, that's 100% justified to be pissed off about. But I believe that is it. All right, let's go look at some kills here. All right, we're going to start off with King Ceridan as the Venetti, 1,500 kills on the dot. His archers did pretty solid, honestly. His infantry, honestly, I really just think just outmatched. Rome is a tough enemy. Really tough, especially armored legionaries. J.J. Roberts as Boii, with 1,903 kills, doing exactly what Boii does. All of his infantry did pretty good. His Oathsworn did excellent. I think he chevroned his archers. Fat guy is Salugid with 1,160. Here's where a lot of trouble brewed, right? The Elephant's 138 kills on the enemy, and probably as many of those on his allies as well. If there was a hidden ally kill number, it'd be pretty significant for this Elephant. It really beat up some units. And honestly, really just the infantry not performing that well. The Silver Shield Swordsmen, only one of them broke 100 kills. For the attackers, we have Arverni being commanded by Rudy, 2,054 kills. Look at this. All of his Oathsworn doing really well. One of them not doing so hot, but that's okay. 281 on that one. Archers did okay, and then his Chosen Swords did solid. Good luck as Epirus with 1,530 kills. This is a tough matchup. Good luck. Boii and Epirus. That is a tough matchup, especially with Boii on defense. That is a really hard faction to grind your way through. And finally, Michael Scott as Rome with 1,634 kills. His army is actually pretty healthy. I was going to say, I think there's infantry that could have done better, and there is. But his army is actually pretty healthy. You got Praetorians at 159. Praetorians with... But look how healthy these are. 160 on an Evocati cohort. Very, very healthy units. Archers did pretty solid. Well, that is going to be it for today's battle. Thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget that if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also check out the description for the invite link to the Discord. We're always playing games, different kinds of games. It's not always Total War. Sometimes, we're playing COD or Left 4 Dead 2, who knows, Age of Empires. So make sure to join the Discord, hop in the chat, hang out with the guys, but yeah, we will see you guys next time.